Okay, I think we are ready to get this started. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucas. I am with Business Development, and I will be the host, or rather the co-host of today's webinar. First of all, thank you for taking the time and spending it with us. We appreciate it quite a bit. I've got a colleague with me for this webinar, a longtime member of our QA and product team. Regular attendees might know him already. His name is Robert Kovacic. Hello, Robert.
Hello, Lucas, and hello to all the live guests and to all of the watchers of the recording.
We've got some stuff prepared for you guys. We want to do a very streamlined and cohesive webinar. We plan to do this in about 30 minutes. And keep in mind, this webinar is also being recorded. The recording will be shared a couple of days later. So in case you'll feel like you've missed some part of it, or you'll feel like you will want to share it with someone else, you will be able to do that. By all means, keep also in mind that we've got plenty of in-house consultants that will be happy to help. So if you'll feel like the webinar didn't answer all of your questions, that obviously isn't a problem. You always have the option to reach out to us and get more information later. First things first, I'm going to go through some form of agenda for this webinar so you know what's coming. I'll start this off with a quick summary of Easy Software news, just so you know what we've been cooking recently and what changes have we made over the past few weeks. We're going to move forward to the version 12 of Easy Redmine, which is obviously the purpose of this webinar to begin with. Just keep in mind, it's not going to be a demo. We want to allow all our potential and existing clients to get a view of what's coming up with the version 12, and that's what Robert is going to do. After this part is over, we're going to do a simplified Q&A. In this case, I would like to urge everyone to use the Q&A button, which can be found here in the Zoom application. The Zoom application that you have open, if you take a look at the bottom where you set up all those video and microphone stuff, there should be like a chat bubble icon called Q&A. So please use that one for questions, because it tends to be very difficult to find and navigate yourself within questions within the regular chat. And after we're close, or after we're done with this Q&A section, we'll do some form of a closing and some additional info just to close this webinar out. So I'm going to move forward to Easy Software news. Easy Redmine itself has always been a leader in the Redmine market, right? We've always been taking it to the next level. I would say our biggest business advantage has always been the flexibility and adaptability, not only of the software, but also of the company itself, because we call ourselves a middle-sized organization, which is pretty agile in terms of reacting to changes our clients have been requesting. None of that is changing, right? We're still going to be a complex project management platform in the best sense of the word. We will be providing further traditional and agile project tools to keep on working in this regard. We keep on providing all the visual reporting that you might need, along with features like help desk or CRM, basically all the project management tools anyone might need to lead successful project. Our sort of goal, or our vision that we move towards, is to have as complex project management platform as possible, with some additional modules or extensions on the side. We've been going towards this for the past several years at this moment, and we're not planning to deviate. I'm talking about this because obviously our software is constantly being upgraded. We are closing in on the version 12 release. We're still keeping on with the same schedule. We're having one major release every year, plus obviously there is some minor releases in between for hot bug fixes or some smaller features that we add as we go. The official release for existing clients is planned for mid-September, plus there's going to be some period in which we're going to be upgrading our applications. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to post the landing page for version 12 into the chat right after I'm done with this section for those who are interested, just so you can access it and maybe scroll through or follow through as Robert keeps on talking about it. However, we are planning a few other things at the same time. Everything else gets a facelift as well. We're doing a internal rebranding project, sort of getting ourselves 2023 compliant, if you will. I'm using the word facelift because we're keeping main aspects of our marketing and business the same. Even though the rebranding is going to be, I would say, very noticeable for close clients and partners, we are making sure to keep our identity and to avoid any potential confusions. You'll notice new website, new logo, a little different messaging, but everything is revolving around marketing, basically. Nothing changes in our approach, nothing changes in our services. What you can do if you want to get a feel of what version 12 is like, you can obviously open trial accounts through our website, easyredmine.com, and then talk to our consultants, approach them with your individual requirements or scenarios, and just get help from us, because as expected, we're probably the bunch of people that knows Easy Redmine the best. Get a demo, ask questions specific to your business, so we're not wasting anyone's time, right? There's no shame in looking for help, and we'll be happy to provide it. At this point, I've gone through some of the news. You'll be able to learn much more if you go to easyredmine.com, but I think it's time for my co-host to take over and actually focus on what is purpose of this webinar. Robert is going to share more information about the version 12 of Easy Redmine and our ideas. And once again, if you feel like you have any questions throughout, keep thinking of the Q&A button at the bottom of the Zoom application, ask questions, and we'll circle back to your questions after Robert is done with his presentation. So Robert, with this, I think I'm fine with leaving the stage to you.
Thank you, Lukasz, for all of the updates, which are certainly a significant part of the whole Easy Redmine story. I myself am part of the product story of the application mostly, so it's time to show you what exactly the version 12 contains. I would like to start with where you can find some the comprehensive information about the version 12 changes, which is, as always, in the release notes article, which gathers everything. I will not be able to go through all of them with you today, but I will definitely show you the biggest highlights and just make sure that you won't miss anything of the important parts. I would like to start and get out of the way the technical part, because it is important, but it's not what most of you came here for. It's just important to say that we do follow the technical, the latest technologies, and we do like to keep up to date, which is why we are happy to say that we run the Easy Redmine 12 runs on Ruby 3.1. We are happy to say that we are upgradable from Redmine 5, which means that you can upgrade to Easy Redmine from any Redmine. It also works, of course, from the older versions. There are some other changes, but it's not really the time to go through them. And as Lukasz said, we are able to consult any individual needs with regards to the technical stack. About this Redmine 5 upgradability, it's not just that it's possible to upgrade from Redmine 5 to Easy Redmine, but also we adopted some features from Redmine 5. So if there was something that you were looking forward to and it was never in Easy Redmine and you were eager to see it, then we have these features concerning two-factor login. It's whether it's for administrators or certain groups. We adopted the filters that were added into the task list. We also added these useful handy statistics of subtasks, for example, and we also, for the server admins, for example, put this information about migrations. It's very helpful, since I also worked on support, and this may cause issue if it's not issues if it's not uncovered. So Redmine 5 compatible. We are very soon going to support Redmine 5.02, so the latest official one. Now, moving on directly, finally, to the application, which some of you already may have seen, but maybe there are some of you who haven't. The first topic which I would like to address is the design and the usability, which is the more important part than just the design isolated. It's those of you who have seen Easy8 before, those of you who've seen it in the last year, notice some changes, but not dramatic changes. Those of you who haven't seen Easy8 at all, yeah, this is how it looks like. And the most important aspect is that we went through numerous user testing evaluation phases in order to develop the design which will not only look well, but also be usable and practical. And these kind of design changes will be done even continually, even after the release of version 12, because as we get feedback from you yourselves, users, with this version, that's why we have minor versions, in order to be able to flexibly apply or implement the some changes which you may have found less usable. One big important change, or maybe jump, or maybe step compared to Redmine are the task forms. Starting with creation of a new task, which has gone through complete overhaul. For those who already seen Easy8 before, it looks very different than from version 12, where we wanted to keep the focus on the most important fields, which are, of course, subject and description. Project selection, if you have preset, it's fine, but most of the time you still need to select the project, so the field follows. And then we have further fields. We also have this navigation bar, which allows you to quickly jump to any section without having to scroll too much. This is what this was the big pain which we realized also from the user testing, that there are many fields and they're just too scrolling, jumping up and down. It's much easier to click through the navigation line to navigation bar, and you will see it as well on the task update, which I will show you very quickly. Well, in fact, I will show it to you right now. Let's check some sample task. The update button is same as before. The form stays within the task, as you know from Redmine or from older versions of Easy8. But as you can see, the biggest difference is that we are starting with the comment. Again, this comes from user experience and research. What is the most important part is actually to update the task with some comment. Then we selected the key attributes which actually allow the task to move during its life cycle. For example, assignee, you mostly want to assign it to someone else. Even if not, you can keep it. And of course, the status and priority and due date are the fields that are affected or are updated quite often. Again, the navigation bar, as you can see, currently we are in a help desk ticket, so I would write, hello, dear customer. I would possibly change some status. Then I would go to the help desk features and I would send email from a template containing my comment, and then I can log time. This is a sample, but it's a kind of workflow that we know to be functioning. What else I wanted to say regarding the usability is that is not as a new feature as you would expect, but it's something that we like to recommend to administrators to keep their life of their users as simple as possible. So here I am showing you a simplified tracker which contains just a limited number of fields. But for example, when starting with such a robust solution as Redmine is, you may not need to put any more fields. So as you can see here, I just selected a few, just the basic fields: priority, assignee, and due date. I don't even have the start date because I'm not planning to work in Gantt, for example. I just want to start assigning tasks to my team who see the lists and go through them. So just a reminder of the flexibility when starting implementing the solution to some users who may not be used to it, and they may have some reservations about it. It is possible to start from very minimalist solutions and then gradually go further. It's a part of the usability story. That's why I mentioned it, even though it's not necessarily a change in version 12. One more thing, one more big technological leap when comparing to Redmine is something we call dynamic filters. Now, this component was already introduced in version 11, so it's not completely new, but version 12 has introduced some usability changes to make it even more friendly, to make it ready for even more use cases. Some of the changes include columns evenly, for example. Just if you prepare the special ad hoc table with let's say various columns, just click on to evenize it, and they are now regular. Also, managing of the columns is a little bit upgraded. Saved filters are upgraded by a lot. Here's the select. Here you can find whichever you need, for example, my tasks. And we also try to visualize the important cells, which are status, priority, and tracker, for example. So they can even pop out more. You can see the important tasks head out. So this is another part which we changed in terms of usability. Now, these were some general regular parts of the application, but I would like to show you now a new one, a new functionality called Agile Resource Management. Now, for those of you who already seen Easy Redmine, you know that we already have something called resource management, which was linked to tasks and to existing logic in the application, which had some advantages in the sense that you could do precise planning, and you could do and you could follow the configurations you have in the application. But from further user surveys, we understood that it was kind of hard to onboard into that resource management. So we found an alternative. We tried to make something that you can start working on today and manage your teams or your specific users and your projects in time. And this is called Agile Resource Management. The technical documentation is available in the knowledge base, and it can be found through the release notes. So I would just like to show you what's it about, what are the features, what are the tweaks from the top level. There are three types of views in this Agile Resource Management. There's the project view, where the main item is the project and how it goes in time, and possibly who works on it, either team or specific users. We have a teams view where you can set up your own teams with specific users, with specific skills. And you can see the allocations of these teams. And finally, we have the personal view, which shows you per every worker in your application. There may be some users who have projects just in their teams, but there may be some workers who have their own projects, and on some other projects they work as part of a team. So these are the three different views, which are kind of self-explanatory. How to work with them. I already have some data, so it's easy for me to drag and drop. But in case you have nothing planned in Agile Resource Management yet, there is a button to add a project. You can find whichever you need. For example, this one, building a house. I am going to add the project. It popped up here. I can choose the color of this bar, so I know which one is going to be there. Then I will simply add the workers who will be building the house for me. So it will be my sales representative. It may be the other users who I can see are part of a team, so I should be wary whether to put them into this project or not. I also see the skills of the users, so I know who I will be able to use. So let's put in Peter, because he's a senior product owner. Fine, so I edit my colleagues, and now I am allocating their time on this project. Yes, I should also allocate the time for the whole project, and within this scope, I can allocate the specific users. Some of them may work on it the whole time, some of them don't have to. And this is what you can do very, very intuitively directly in this chart. Going to team view, we in our company use it to manage our Scrum teams, but it's not just for software development. It's a universally usable functionality. If you want to add a new team, again, select the color, select the team type, which is configurable. It doesn't have to be external or Scrum. It can be whatever else, and sprint duration, for example. This may not be necessary for you, but it's there for software developers. So you create a team, which I haven't named yet, and you will add users to it. Similar way to the before view of the project. You can assign a project to this team as well, if you can see that they don't have anything to do currently. Finally, the personal view. Let's say this is a little bit more micromanagement, but it works, for example, again, across the skills. So I will check, for example, Vue developers, what are they working on? I can see that Mike is a part of the Red developers, but he also has his own project where he works individually. So this is practically it. On the personal view, click on the team, and you can see the team allocations. So what exactly are the Red developers working on? There are some further features which I hope you will be eager to check either in your trial or the documentation. But we would be here very long if I go through all of them. So don't hesitate to check them out or talk to our consultants if you need some guidance with it. As I mentioned, the Agile Resource Management is not the only one. We are still keeping the Advanced Resource Management, which works with hours, which works with specific tasks. And there have been some additions to this resource management, which is added quarterly and yearly view, since we know that there are a lot of companies planning a long time ahead, and the monthly view simply didn't cut it for them. So we added this kind of zoom out. Another change in the original resource management is that we kind of integrated the resource dashboard to it. Some of you may have seen a resource dashboard. For those who don't, if you click on the menu resource management, you will be in fact taken to resource dashboard, and except for the resource management itself, you can go through some various types of reports. For example, here, if you need to go directly into the native view of the resource management full screen, for example, then there is the button to reach it. So we are still supporting the original resource management. It's still available. So whenever you buy the business plan, you can choose which of the resource managements you want to use, which is better for your case. Moving on to the developers among you and IT sections within companies, we have integration with Git solutions. Previously, we only have GitLab, but we also added GitHub integration, which I would like to show you very quickly. Going to Git integration and into settings, you will add GitHub, and it's just a very, very simple form where you can give it a name. You can put the URL, which in case of the cloud hosting is simply github.com, and you will generate a token in your GitHub which has proper access. So right now I connected to my own GitHub. I will add a repository which is correctly found within my reach of the key, and I can see the repository, and I can see the data from this repository in my Easy Redmine, and I can filter through this data. I can make reports above commits, above pull requests, etc., etc. Details of GitHub integration are also documented in linked through the release notes. So for any details, there is a special page for it, step-by-step connection, how to generate the key, and so forth. Connection was just by these three buttons, and then you get all the data from GitHub to Easy Redmine. Finally, there are not just the big parts which we do for major versions. We also pay attention to details, to as many details as possible within the big application that we have. So there were some smaller changes, such as showing working attendance in the calendar. For example, previously the calendar only showed vacations or non-working attendances, because they are the blocks which disallow me to work or disallow others to invite meetings for me. But in some case, it may be useful to see the working attendance when I was in the office, when I was home office, how long I worked. So we added this option, which can be also disabled if you are not using it. Another smaller feature that we added, and I promise this is the last one, is when you are on the project overview page, there is a list, there is the information, the custom fields and the native fields, and it's possible to edit all of them in this module. Previously, there were some missing possibilities to edit. Right now, we have all of them. So that's it from my side. I have been talking longer than I expected, but I don't like to miss on anything important. That's why I probably want to repeat something. But now it's time to hear your questions. I see there is a couple of them. So
yeah, we've got a few. Yeah.
Let's check on it.
All right. So let's start. Let's go one by one. I will start with the first question from Jean-Michel. We are for the moment at version 10. I think that's pretty common for a lot of clients. We had planned with your team to move to the version 11.5 in September. Is it a good idea to move to that or move directly to version 12? I'll just start this off by saying that the version 11 was a huge change for us. From version 10 to version 11, there was a bunch of technical changes that had to be made. which made things a little more difficult. However, moving from version 11 to version 12 is going to be much easier. So from my point of view, if you're planning to get upgraded to 11.5, I personally wouldn't have any troubles with that because I know that upgrading to version 12 is probably going to be easier. But Robo, feel free to correct me here if you feel otherwise.
Yeah, thank you, Lukáš. It really depends on what you have prepared your users for. Switch from 10 to 11 was a very big switch, even from the design standpoint. However, if you feel that your users will not be surprised by anything when you upgrade directly to version 12, I would actually recommend this solution. For one, it will be just one operation. You don't need to do two updates. And if you are currently upgradable to version 11, which means that you probably are running the latest 10 LTS, it means that you are also upgradable directly to version 12. So if it's not really time sensitive, if you don't hurry to version 11, then just in 2 weeks, the version 12 will be officially released for clients, which means that you can upgrade directly. It's actually better idea in terms of preparing the server environment, since it's easier to prepare just one new server than preparing one medium server and then a newer one. So if you are able to wait a couple of weeks, then I would recommend to move to 12 directly.
All right. Second question from Pascal: is there added a spelling checker, for example, in task descriptions?
Thank you for the question. It is interesting. We have had them before, but we realized that it's that this functionality already exists within the browsers, within the browser extensions, and we felt that we wouldn't be able to do such a good job on it, since there are specialized developers doing spell checkers. So I would recommend to use the browser spell checking, since it provides, since they are specialized, and we are better at project management than spell checking. Let's be honest.
All right. 2 more questions from an anonymous attendee, but I'm sure we'll manage. Import of emails and tasks from different or as tasks from different mail accounts and assigning these to defined projects. So basically turning emails into tasks, is that possible?
Yes, definitely it is possible. It's a regular feature of help desk. There are various ways how to configure which emails fall into which projects. So this is something that our consultants definitely will be able to answer in as deep detail as you need. Yes, we have this, and it's a part of help desk.
Question from the same attendee: if we have a mobile view support. If I'm not mistaken, there is an Easy Redmine app both for Android and Apple devices, right?
Yeah, whether this question was about the mobile applications or mobile view, yes, in the design and in the usability, we also take into account responsivity. So we do testing on mobile view as well, and we keep focus on this. So yes, there are too many views, and maybe not all of them are tested. So whatever you find not working, we'll be happy to get a report from you, and we will be happy to fix it and to provide you a new version where your problem is fixed.
I would just add from my side, as a long-time user, the software is intended to be used on a bit larger screen than mobile phones. It's just the way it is with these types of softwares. The mobile phone is nice for quick checking of the project status and stuff like that. For that, it is perfect. It's just, if you're looking for the best user experience, it's probably a larger screen. We've got a question from Pascal. Is it possible to combine Agile and the advanced resource management? I don't see a problem with that. They both achieve like a different thing, obviously, but both will be active. If you go ahead with the business license, by default, you will have access to both Agile Resource Management and the traditional resource management. They achieve different things, as Robo defined. You'll find that on the website, and feel free to consult that with us later. But in theory, you will be able to use both. It's just you need to utilize it properly.
Definitely. It's important to note that they are not interconnected technically in any way. So one will not interfere with the other one. So functionally, they are independent. In the Agile Resource Management, you are working with projects strictly. You don't have tasks. In the as you put it, advanced or as we sometimes call it, original resource management, you work with tasks. So they can complement each other, yes, but you shouldn't expect some functional connection. We purposely wanted to make the Agile Resource Management independent so that there are no limitations which often cause user frustration when there is some specific error and now we need to check some other task to be able to save your changes. So they can be complementary, yes.
All right. Another one, how are supportive documents organized? Basically, if we can upload documents into issues, I would say we can. There is no like complex versioning on issues at this moment, right?
Well, this is again approach of what exactly are your intentions, and there are various ways of how to achieve them. So there are multiple ways, multiple places where you can upload documents, and either to issues, or as we call them, tasks, or to risk management. For example, we have entity called risk. You can upload them to DMS, for example. So it's really, again, about the individual needs, and our consultants will find the best solution for your specific ones. I don't know whether I can give you some better answer at this time.
I would say, and it applies to many other questions because we probably will not have time to address all of them. support@easyredmine.com. Send your questions straight to us, and we will either help straight away or we will redirect you to one of our consultants, and you can start addressing these questions a little more in detail instead of just, us here sharing a sentence or two on a call. Another question, handover of issues to new employees if somebody left, or rather what happens to issues of the person that left the company. From my side of the table, things that I have done, when somebody leaves the company, you don't want to delete the user because then you delete a specific record of the entries. You want to lock the user. When the user is locked, it means it's still in your system. You can see their history, you can see their past entries, but it does not count towards your license. So business-wise, you are not paying any money for this one. You have anything to add, Robo?
Yes, we have the option to update tasks in bulk, more tasks at once, practically unlimited. And so the practice is that the task where this user who is leaving was the author, you can change the author of all the tasks at once. You can change the assignee of all the open tasks, for example. And this is it's a regular part, and it's how it's normally used. So if it's about tasks, there is this option. Some other specifics depends on the situation. In some extreme cases, it's possible to prepare a script on the server which replaces this user ID with some other user ID, and the data in all of the application will be changed from the old user to the new one. So there are plenty of solutions to this.
I would just say we've had this several times in the past. We've been using Easy Redmine internally for years, and we've obviously had some new colleagues coming in and some colleagues leaving. The software is very ready to handle this. There's a question from Julia. Do you have any recommendations how to set up help desk and separate the project management in Easy Redmine? I think that would be for way too long to go into help desk here. I would definitely recommend to take a look at the easyredmine.com. You'll find some guidance there. But the best sort of course of action here is to start a trial account. You will get reached out to one of our consultants and just ask them to host a one-on-one demo with you. And they will be happy to show you the help desk and maybe provide some use cases as in how these things work, because that's by far the best what we can do, right? Just spend 20-30 minutes on help desk instead of just us here going deep into it.
I just don't want to leave Julia unanswered. My personal recommendation is to maybe separate project management project with the support project. It's from my use the better practice, but everything that Lukáš said was true and correct.
We've got another one which sort of circles back to what we talked earlier about. We're now in version 10. Can we jump to version 12 directly? You definitely can. It's probably best to consult with some of us just so we know everything will work smoothly. But it is actually the ideal scenario at this point, as Robo suggested earlier. I'm scrolling through those questions. I'm taking a look at questions that we are able to handle right now, because we will have to close the webinar soon. Obviously, there's a question about API availability. Easy Redmine definitely has API available. You can find that on the website, or once again, if you reach out to us, we'll be happy to help. But
API can even directly be tested within each application. It's documented. If I'm here, if you can see my screen, you can find it on Easy Swagger, and this is actually documentation / test environment for the API directly in your application, in your data. So whatever you need, try to check it here.
And I remember that also on the easyredmine.com in the documentation section, it can be accessed somewhere. I can't describe exactly where, but if you click a few times on the website, you'll find the full documentation and you'll be able to learn. We have a lot of stuff integrated through APIs, so by all definitely that's one of our goals moving forward. All right, there were some questions which are a little too detailed. I would definitely suggest you guys to reach out to support at easyredmine.com, because we cannot address them right here, right now, but I would definitely want to look into it. And yeah, Robo, unless you have anything to add, I think at this point, we're ready to call this a day.
I suppose we are. Those questions we have not answered, we can still answer them afterwards. So I hope we can return to some of you if you left your emails. So thank you for your active watching and listening and asking, and I'm happy to hear that some of you already are looking forward to version 12.
Yeah, and once again, start trial accounts. Challenge us with your workflows and requirements. Ask my colleagues to do a demo of the software so you can actually see it in action. Explore the website, easyredmine.com, along with the pricing page if you need to get an idea about how much the software actually costs. We know running project is hard. Perfection is impossible for us. We try to aim for as much harmony in cooperation as possible. I guess that's our goal moving forward. So yeah, from me, from Lukáš, and from Robo, thank you again for paying attention, and we'll see each other again in one of our future webinars. Have a nice day.
Have a good day, everyone.